I'm Peter Mallory, and I am in charge of government relations at the Vermont Association of Mental Health and Addiction Recovery, and I'm also director of Friends of Recovery Vermont.
So my name is Artie Seelig, and I'm a motivational interviewing trainer and quality assurance coordinator around the state of Vermont.
So my name is Ken Johnson. I am the operations manager and the recovery coach supervisor at the Turning Point Center of Chittenden County in Burlington, Vermont.
I am Julie Phillips. I'm account manager and recovery coach at Working Fields. We work with individuals who are in recovery from substance abuse addiction and get them employment with companies that need really good employees that possibly need a second chance.
And I'm Lissa Civi. I'm also an account manager and recovery coach at Working Fields.
Recovery coach is someone who helps people coming into recovery with all the practical questions that come up, and sits down with people and finds out what their priority needs are and helps work with them to reach out and find ways to deal with complicated problems.
Recovery coaching meets people where they're at, and there is not judgment being placed on where they're at. And it is focused on improving their overall life, so that way their specific area of substance abuse recovery becomes easier for them.
You know, as long as you communicate and you're open and honest, we can help you through anything.
So one of the things we know from years of research is that the primary thing that predicts whether or not people are successful in recovery, or really in any therapeutic interaction, is how connected they are to the person in front of them. Whether or not they feel a kinship with that person, the depth of that relationship really predicts how well people do.
Coaching is not designed for the coach to solve a recovery's problems. They're designed to help them find alternatives and paths and solutions that they can then go out and practice and try, come back, receive feedback in a positive way to build on that, so they now have new thought process, new skills, new tools, and also have somebody to sort of reground them and talk to them about how it went and what areas were successful, and if there were areas that weren't as successful, how do you improve that to be more successful?
In the first class of the Recovery Coach Academy, and had an experience that I think I shared with a lot of people there. It was we took our interest in recovery and were empowered to see new and different ways to address recovery issues for people coming into recovery and beyond.
It was so different and so amazing to go through the academy and figure out, the difference between the sponsor and the recovery coach.
Before the training, I was making a lot of decisions for somebody else based on how it made me feel. I would want to enable somebody in a way because it made me feel better. And coaching is not about making yourself feel better. It's about making the individual across from you better in any way that is possible.
Well, now, after quite a few years, I actually play a role in the trainings that we do here at the association, and I tend to do work on motivational interviewing, which is at the core of what we're doing with recovery coaching.
Motivational interviewing is really important in people's process of quitting because it maintains your client's autonomy. It recognizes that it's their goals that we're trying to reach and not our own. There's a lot of judgment around addiction in our society, and what MI does is it creates a space for people to be themselves. Our goal isn't just for people to stop using substances. It's actually for them to replace that substance with a positive life, with goals that they have, with a vision of themselves as someone who's contributing, who feels good about where they are. A lot of trying to understand what someone goes through means being able to sit in front of them with an open heart and hear the things that they have to say, the struggles that they've gone through, the way they think about their lives today. Motivational interviewing gives us a way of sort of thinking about that. So often people aren't actually asked how they're doing. People don't think to stop and genuinely say, "How are you?" And what recovery coaches have the opportunity to do is ask that question and be able to really listen.
I use recovery coaching as my internal dialogue. I wake up in the morning and I open my eyes and I say, "How are you doing today?" And if I tell myself initially I'm fine, I then ask myself, well, what does fine look like? What does fine feel like? What do you need to do if you're not fine? In this moment, is there something you can do to make that better? And if not, finding then the acceptance to be okay with where I am.
It's a really powerful tool when done well. It's really an art form. And so it takes a little bit of time to get comfortable doing it, but it's one of the best ways that we have to learn those skills and to be able to bring people toward the things that they value the most.
I find that I'm more patient and I'm more tolerant and I'm more willing to accept people where they're at and place a lot less judgment and not so much concerned about where they're going, but how the moment can improve for that individual.
It's a movement, really, that's growing every day.
It just works. Study after study shows it works. You all have seen it work. You really have. You felt it work and felt that warmth. When you start making that connection, it is something amazing. It really is.